like growing up, I mean, so Bay, really homogeneous suburb, Bay Village. And, we grew up sort of floating between some people in our group of friends were, more academics, some theater, some sports, into music, like the kind of the whole nine yards. And I think we met hanging out after school at the library, as I recall. And, but just, we had a pretty, not a racially diverse group of friends, but in terms of interests.
That initial phase was really, for me, like a safe haven. I mean, it wasn't intentional, but it was like at school, I felt so much as the other, especially in middle school, because I had I didn't talk about it with my parents. I didn't really talk about it with anyone. I didn't talk about it with my brother, It's like we never, whatever.
Really? You guys didn't even, oh, wow.
We didn't talk about it until later. I think it wasn't until like after I left Bay that my brother and I really kind of had debriefings about it, because when you're going through it, it's hard to see what it is. Hanging out at the library, it was just like one of the first places where just hanging out with you and Len is where I could just be myself, and like really have not be concerned about how I was seen or feel like there was a spotlight on me, because, I like just walking around the halls in Bay Middle, it's like, people would point me out or like just say not overtly racist stuff, but what people call now like people call microaggressions, what is called microaggressions, because you just hear some like comments that it would be like an all day thing. And all I want to do is you just want to get through, that's what my, brother and I talked about later.
That's what most people are trying to do in middle school anyway.
Yeah.
Your extra element of like several degrees of difficulty. And I mean, like I do remember, I'm pretty sure, well, we don't have the exact class, but I'm pretty sure I remember like a teacher that consistently called you Chien.
My choir teacher weaponized my name pronunciation, because if I was like not paying attention, she would intentionally mispronounce my name, and she knew it drove me nuts. I had been in her class for almost the whole year, and then she was like, "Chien, I need you to be quiet," and I was like, "Oh, lady." It's like and that's the thing is like, I'm sure she's forgot. I'm sure she didn't even think twice about it that day, but I remember. But I mean, I've told you on the first day of school in Mr. Corrigan's class, the 6th grade, when I sat down, I won't name names, but when one of our classmates asked me if I knew how to use a fork, and this is within 3 to 5 minutes of school starting.
Like that seems like something that would be in
in a sitcom,
bad stereotypical, like a fictional world.
And she was just like, where are you from? And she's like, do you know how to use a fork? And I can hear her now asking me in like the tone of her voice, and just that, against but like in terms of as a microaggression, she did not. She really was asking. And I was just like, up until that point, even though we had moved to Bay, like my brother and I really hadn't we hadn't like really met anybody. We moved in just like a few weeks beforehand. And I was like, what is this place?
Well, plus you mentioned that, was it one or were there multiple teachers or staff at the school that would pet your hair?
Yeah. Because they remember I had like the fuzzy buzz cut, so they would just come over unsolicited and pet my hair, and and for
they never did that to me when I had a buzz cut.
Well, you're lucky.
Because, but I can't even imagine. Like again, that seems like something that you could only make up.
When people talk about the term microaggressions, it's said always so many times I hear it said dismissively, like, oh, like, they're getting a microaggression. And for me, it was an epiphany when I was like, what's a microaggression? I read it up. I was like, that's what you call it. That's what you call it. Because it's not an overt act of racism. It's not hate speech. It's not coming from a place of like denying you as a human being. It was so lovely to have such a relief to finally have a word that I could use to describe those experiences. Because yeah, I mean, if I'm going into the office just to get like, you know, a pass because I had a bloody nose and the person leans over the counter and just starts petting my hair. I mean, when you're 12, you're like, I don't know what to do with this moment right now. I just know it's very weird. It's very confusing. I feel like there's been a violation of boundaries, but I would never even said at 12 or 13, this is a violation of my boundaries. You're just like,
Yeah.
it's very awkward. You just kind of leave the office, you know, just going like, ugh. And that's as much as I could process it at that time.